is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right?
Very.
So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional. Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Welcome into the Country Financial Studio on a Monday. Ryan Milano here with you on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. After a big-time road weekend for the Ducks, both on the men's and the women's side, Oregon got 3 out of the 4 possible wins on the weekend, and these were tough games. We will break it all down coming up on the show today. Oregon men's basketball, Kevin McKenna joined Joey in the postgame. We'll hear from him. Keeshawn Barthelemy after the win against Penn State also talked with Joey Mack. We'll get to that later on the show, as well as Kelly Graves breaking down what was a resilient performance for Oregon women's basketball. Also, don't look now, we're a month out from baseball season. Baseball season starts on February 14th. It is January 13th right now. Over the next month here in the Country Financial Studio and Duck Insider, we will be rotating in baseball players, previewing the season. We will have the first leadoff hitter today, Carter Garate. I don't know where he's going to bat in the batting order in the season. I know for us, he's batting leadoff because he's on the show today, first to preview the baseball season coming up starting next month. We'll get a few more players in as the weeks continue to roll forward, getting you geared up for the Diamond season as well. And speaking of the winter/spring sports that are all going to start up, they're starting at the end of the week, depending on which sport you're looking at. Oregon in the Olympics has a lot going on. Indoor track starts on Friday. Tennis starts on Friday for the women. On the men's side, they start this weekend as well on the tennis court, and there's a lot more to break down. A few stuff that happened over the 2-week break. We were off for the holiday, Duck Insider, that we didn't have the chance to get to last week because it was just such an action-packed week last week. So we've got a lot to break down on the show for you today. First, it's going to be our recap of Oregon basketball, and we're starting with the men with a really tough and gritty 82-81 road win against Penn State. This Penn State-Ohio State road trip, not easy at all. Quad 1 wins for Oregon on the men's side, both on Thursday against Ohio State and yesterday against Penn State. It was a long road trip. The Ducks were away for about 6 days, but when you come back with 2 huge, high-quality wins like that, it feels really, really good to get things done. And Oregon needed just about everybody to get things done. I normally don't run through the full box score for Oregon in terms of the individual stats. I will today because this was team effort at its finest for Oregon men's basketball in the 82-81 win over Penn State. First off, Jadrian Tracy, he had 13 points for the Ducks. He went 4 for 8 from the field. He knocked down 4 huge free throws. He was 4 of 5 from the line, including the 2 most critical free throws at the end of the game. That's a productive day. Jackson Shellstad, he's shooting red hot. From outside, he's been hot. From inside the arc, his jump shot has been pure. 17 points, 7 of 10 from the field, 3 of 5 from 3, 2 rebounds, and I think this is probably the stat that Coach Altman will be most excited about. 8 assists and 0 turnovers for Jackson Shellstad. In a 1-point road conference win, That is absolutely critical. Jackson Shellstad with a huge performance. TJ Bamba in double figures scoring. He had 10 points, 4 for 4 from the line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Brandon Angel didn't fill up the box score in terms of the actual shooting stats. Only had 3 points in the ball game, but his impact was made on the defensive end. Felt like Brandon Angel was doing a lot of positive things defensively in the game for Oregon against Penn State. Nate Biddle in double figures. He had 11 points, 5 of 11 from the field, 4 rebounds, 3 assists for Nate Biddle. And when he can stretch the floor and bring defenses out, it opens up the whole court for everybody. Supreme Cook didn't have too many minutes in the game, 3 points, 5 rebounds in just 12 minutes of action. He made his impact known. Keeshawn Barthelemy made his impact known. 15 points, 6 of 11 from the field, 3 of 6 from deep. Made some huge, huge shots down the stretch when Penn State flipped the lead on Oregon. It looked like they were going to pace down the stretch. It was Keeshawn Barthelemy and big shot making that brought Oregon back. Key also had 6 rebounds and 6 assists. I don't know how many 15-6 in 6 games you get very often. Keeshawn Barthelemy with a big spark off the bench. So was Kwame Evans Jr. 10 points, perfect from the field, 4 of 4 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 3 rebounds. The Ducks, they played team basketball. 8 Ducks saw the floor. All 8 were incredibly important in this razor-thin margin, an 82-81 victory over Penn State. Critical, huge, big time for Oregon men's basketball in a game in which the Ducks were up by 14 in the first half. Penn State came all the way back and took a 9-point lead with about 6 minutes left in the game. Oregon's been there before. The Ducks continue to win close. The Ducks continue to come back in the second half when it comes to crunch time. You'll hear Keeshawn Barthelemy talk about it in a little bit, but this team, they've just been here before. Before we get to Keeshawn Barthelemy, reactions from one of the assistant coaches for Oregon men's basketball, Kevin McKenna, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care, close to home. The reaction from the coaching staff, Kevin McKenna meeting up with Joey Mack post-game.
Kevin McKenna made the trek up. Thanks for making the trek up the stairs. How you doing, Coach?
Got some more steps in today. It's always a good thing.
Hey, so winning on the road is hard.
Yes, it is.
What are your takeaways after that one?
Well, we made it a little harder on ourselves, I think, by a couple things. We didn't guard the ball very well. They got a lot of offensive rebound putbacks. The zone kind of froze us a little bit, and we got to looking at it and staring at it instead of moving the ball and cutting, and we finally figured out some things and got into some good sets and got some good shots. Keeshawn got a couple of shots down, and our press helped us a little bit. And all in all, like you said, it's hard to win on the road. They're a good team, and we figured it out.
Chronologically, if I could, a little bit, like you hit some shots early to build that lead. How nice was it to get a quick start, to see the shots go in early?
It was like we were all in shock on the bench, I think, and kind of got fat and happy there a little bit. But, it's a game of runs sometimes, and the way they play and their style and the way they go after it, it's going to happen. They had won 13 games in a row here, and it's always tough to go on the road, like you said, and it was nice to get a win.
You talked about some of the – and now continue chronologically if I could, K-Mac, just the end-of-game sequencing. I mean, against Ohio State, Coach and I talked about how you hit some shots when you needed to, got some stops when you needed to, kind of similar down the stretch.
Real similar. And, Bam made a couple key free throws there, and we didn't want to foul on that shot, so we gave 24 some room. He's their best three-point shooter, and we didn't want to come close to, having something crazy happen. And he got a good open shot, and we finally got it in. And so all in all, to go on the road and be on the road for 6 days. We've been out here for a while now. It's kind of nice to come go back with a couple wins.
Only 3 turnovers in the second half.
Yeah, we took care of it. Like you said, they sat in that zone a little bit, and we got a little tentative against it, but we did get some transition going there late too, and that helped us. And KJ gave us a good boost, and we've had different guys step up, which is a sign of a good team, and we always talk about that. Sometimes you, sometimes me, always us, and tonight was no different. 6
players in double figures.
Yeah,
I mean that says something, doesn't it?
No, I think that's the strength of our team is our balance. We don't really have a Joe Young or a Dante that's going to you can mark down 18 to 20 every night, but we got a lot of guys that can do a lot of damage, and we shared the ball. I think we had 22 assists on 31 buckets, which is good. They don't give you stats up here. What's the deal? How do you?
Here you go.
Oh,
I got you ready.
I'm just kidding. That was one of the stats that stuck out in my head, anyways.
I went all digital for you. Now you got the printed copy.
You guys are way ahead of me on that kind of stuff. I'm like Coach Altman, a little bit behind on that, but we did a nice job.
Overall, you mentioned KJ. I did want to ask you about that. I mean, went 4 for 4, finished around the rim in this one, gave you a boost.
He had a couple good finishes. He got his nose bloody or his lip bloody a couple times in there. They were scraping blood off him all during the timeouts and that, and he's coming along. He's being more aggressive, and KJ knows how to play, and he's got long arms and gets a lot of stuff done. And when he goes up strong with that ball around the rim, he can finish, and he's a good free throw shooter. So add it all up, and like I said, we had a lot of guys step up.
Well, we've covered a lot. Just sum it up for fans. It's a good building block. Winning on the road's hard, and now you get ready for Purdue. What's the next step?
Yeah, well, we got Purdue, and that's we had a whole week to get ready for them. They're one of the I know Coach Painter, and so does Coach Altman. We know them really well from going way back to the Southern Illinois Creighton games, and Matt's a really good coach. They're really a good team. They've been playing really well. I think they've won 5 straight.
Yeah.
So they're going to come in with a lot of juice and a lot of good players there. They got a really good point guard, and like I said, one of the better coached teams in the country. Not just in the Big Ten. In the country, he's one of the best, and we're going to need a lot of people there to hopefully help us create a good atmosphere and get after it.
Congrats on a gritty win.
All right.
Thanks for coming
Joey.
up.
Thanks, Joey.
Thanks
Appreciate
for the trek.
Echoing the sentiment from Kevin McKenna at the end, Director of Player Development, Oregon men's basketball, reacting to the 82-81 win over Penn State. We'll still break that down, but I think that the sentiment counts at the end of that. Oregon's back at home in Matthew Knight Arena, and you see how difficult it is to win on the road in conference play. An opportunity to make Matthew Knight Arena one of those raucous environments that just becomes a really difficult location to play. This weekend, 2 men's basketball games. Really one over the weekend and one early next week, but next 2 games for Oregon men's basketball inside of Matthew Knight Arena. Saturday at noon, January 18th, a huge matchup against Purdue, and I don't got to tell you what it will mean late Tuesday night with an 8 o'clock scheduled tip against Washington. Ducks versus Dogs. Yeah. 2 really big-time opponents coming into Matthew Knight Arena on the men's side of things over the next week and change for the next few games for Oregon men's basketball. Flashing back to this game against Penn State, a few of the team stats that got it done for Oregon. The Ducks turned the ball over one more time than Penn State did. 11 turnovers for the Ducks, 10 for Penn State. The assist-to-turnover ratio, that was well in the Ducks' favor. 22 assists for Oregon compared to just 13 for Penn State. The Ducks were moving the basketball around. You heard Coach McKenna talk about it. The Ducks, they had to move the ball around to break into that zone of Penn State. And the Ducks broke into it just enough where down the stretch, Penn State had to go back into man, and Oregon got some really clutch buckets down the stretch when it mattered. Down by 9 with 6 minutes left, Oregon found a way to chip away, get back into the ball game, and come away with the 82-81 victory. Another huge stat, maybe the biggest, Oregon's discrepancy in bench points. 28 bench points for the Ducks, just 4 for Penn State. The Nittany Lions only had 6 players score the basketball. The Ducks, they had a whole host of players getting to the bucket. Biggest discrepancy in those bench points probably came from the play of Keeshawn Barthelemy, because he, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, was absolutely on fire. 15 points, 6 of 11 from the field, 3 of 6 from deep, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, just 1 turnover. Big-time game from Keeshawn Barthelemy. Key, made the trek up to go chat with Joey Mack after the game. 82-81, Oregon wins against Penn State. Keeshawn Barthelemy and his reaction to it post-game.
I say 82-81, you win on the road. First thing that comes to mind, Key.
We got a road sweep. I mean, that's really, really what matters, especially in conference play.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we dropped 2 at home in conference play, and we had to get those back on the road, and we did. And we really have a gritty group, man. I mean, we never stopped fighting, you know, and that was a good win today.
Started fast for you guys, too. Saw some shots go in early. That had to feel nice.
Yeah. The only thing I'd say about that is we did hit some shots early, but I feel like we got a little sloppy there at the end of the first half, and we had a couple turnovers as a group. And second half, they were hitting shots, and we weren't. And then, you know, our intensity on defensive end kind of dropped a little bit, and that can't happen, you know, especially for good teams and how good we want to be. That can't happen. So it was a good start, but we got to clean some things up there.
Still just looking for some consistency,
yes.
It sounds like. You know, so what's the step there? I mean, you're a vet. You've been on teams. How do you find that consistency?
Honestly, it's a tough league, man. Playing 40 minutes is really tough, but we got to bring effort. I feel like that's the price of admission sometimes, but it's easy sometimes on the road to get complacent, especially when you have a lead and everything's going well, but we have to stay disciplined and keep the ball to ourselves. I mean, it's a possessions game. Basketball's a possessions game, and I feel like we let a couple go there, and then the first half and the beginning of the second half.
You and I have talked about this a couple post-game shows before, but 6 players in double figures. You're one of them. I mean, just the ability to spread the wealth for this team. How much of a weapon is it?
It's a great weapon. I mean, it's tough for teams to prepare for. I feel like we have a lot of weapons, and I mean, tonight we had 22 assists, like Coach pointed out in the locker room. I mean, that's a great effort by the team, just moving the ball, sharing the ball, and making the right plays, and it was good tonight.
Well, and then down the stretch, just to zero in on this game a little bit, Key. I mean, you talk about getting some stops. There was a period there in the last 2 minutes they missed 4 straight shots before the wild one that's a tough shot to hit at the end, right? I mean, just the defense and the ability, the confidence that you guys have down the stretch. You feel like you have a lot of confidence down the stretch in games?
I mean, definitely. We've been in these games before, man. If you go back all the way back to Vegas in December, I mean, we've been in these games, and sometimes it's a blessing and a curse. You know, we just play close games, and we've been there. And I remember after one of the timeouts, I told the guys we've been here before. It's just execute, do what we do, and you know they'll crack at some point, and we made them crack a little bit there at the end. And shout out to Penn State. They played really hard at home, and they made it really tough on us, and we came out with the win tonight.
Now you get a few extra days to get ready for Purdue, just the building blocks for fans, and then get fired up for Purdue, huh?
Yeah, Purdue is going to be a tough opponent. You know, they've been in the Big Ten for a while, so they've done the rodeo before, and I'm excited to have the fans back at MKA, and let's get it rocking in there.
Keeshawn, thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Joey.
Keeshawn Barthelemy talking about how gritty of a group this Oregon team is. They've proved it on paper. You can see in the statistics. Ducks are 4-1 now in one-possession games this season. Oregon's finding ways to win regardless of situation. And don't look now, but this Ducks team has one of the strongest resumes in the country. The Ducks have 7 Quad 1 wins. That is tied with Auburn, who is widely considered maybe the number 1 team in the country right now, a 1 seed regardless of which bracket prognosticators you want to look at. It's Oregon and it's Auburn, the only 2 teams in the country with 7 Quad 1 wins. Big-time wins for Oregon, a big-time 3-game winning streak for the Ducks against Maryland, Ohio State, and Penn State. All of those games incredibly tough. I think all of them count as Quad 1 games. The way that Oregon sits now, 7-1 in Quadrant 1 games, 2-1 in Quad 2, a Quad 3 win, and 5-0 in Quad 4 games. This is an Oregon team that is now sitting at 21st in the net rankings, 7th in the RPI, and 13th in the ELO rankings. I don't need to dive into what each one of those computer metric means because they're computer metrics and the computers are much smarter than I, but I think the closest you are to 1, the better things are, and Oregon is inside the top 21 in 3 of the most important computer metrics that those bracket prognosticators will look at the end of the year to determine where Oregon falls in the seeding in March Madness. Big time for Oregon men's basketball, getting the road sweep. Critical It's critical. It's not easy to win on the road, not in this conference, not in any conference, especially not in this conference. 82-81, Oregon men's basketball gets the victory over Penn State. Oregon women's basketball, they also had a really productive road trip. Split the series against Penn State and Ohio State, dropped a tough one against an unbeaten Ohio State team yesterday. We're talking about it when we return after this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back here on Duck Insider inside the Country Financial Studio. Ryan Milano here with you on a Monday. Joey Mack will be back next show tomorrow. Finally, for the first time in 2025, we'll have some Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. But first, we got to talk about what went down on the road, because Joey was jet-setting between Columbus and Penn State, but so was Chris Clayton on the road as well. And Oregon, just like they did on the men's side, got the win close against Penn State. For the women, that came on Thursday. And on Sunday, the women went up against a really, really talented and tough Ohio State team and fell 69-60, the final score. But if you remember earlier in the season, the USC game, a top 10 team that Oregon played against, and a game in which Oregon outplayed the Trojans for 3 of the 4 quarters, I think you can make the same argument here in the game against Ohio State that happened on Sunday. Just look at the way that the quarters broke down in terms of raw scoring. Ducks outscored the Buckeyes 11-8 in the first. Then the Buckeyes outscored the Ducks 31-11 in the second. 21 apiece in the third, and the Ducks outscored the Buckeyes 17-9 in the fourth. First, what that means is that Oregon, regardless of how far they have been out of a game, continued to chip away at the Buckeyes and got really close to getting back into it. With about 4 minutes left, it felt like a real ball game that Oregon climbed their way back into in this one. What it also means is that Oregon's a really talented team that has the capacity to play with the top end of this Big Ten conference. So a little more consistency for the Ducks to break through, get over that hump, is what's going to be really critical for Oregon down the stretch of this Big Ten season, with a really, really difficult conference stretch coming up, starting at home. Next 3 games at home for Oregon women's basketball, including one against Purdue on Wednesday. Wednesday. Make sure that you are at Matthew Knight Arena for all of the upcoming games for Oregon women's basketball, men's basketball as well. Next 5 hoop contests between Oregon men's and women's basketball are here in Eugene at Matthew Knight Arena. I'll be there for all of them. I hope to see all of you there for all of them as well. But talking about the 69-60 loss for Oregon against Ohio State against a really tough Buckeye team, I think Kelly Graves would tell you, really resilient effort. Need to have that consistency for the full 40 minutes. Chris Clayton, after the game, he caught up with Coach KG. What did Kelly Graves have to say?
Final score, Ohio State 69, Oregon 60. We're now joined by Ducks head coach Kelly Graves. Coach, resilient effort, made it interesting down the stretch. What do you think was the key to that big comeback?
Well, we played harder in the second half. We played with a little bit more intensity, and we took care of the ball. You know, that it was that second quarter where we just, lost our poise, and that was, you lose a quarter by 20, and then you're just running uphill the rest of the game. But, I was really proud of our effort, especially late in that game. We had great looks, too. At some point, we've just got to get somebody to step up and make something. And it's too bad because we could have even tightened it up, I think, a little bit better. Or a little bit more, but again, I'm proud of our players. I really am. We could have just laid over, and we didn't. Our kids continued to fight, and it just goes to show that if we put our minds to it and put a good game together, a full game, then we can beat teams like this. We can certainly compete with them, but we can beat these guys.
It seems like the effort on the glass was a lot better in the second half
Yep.
in the fourth quarter. How proud were you to see Amina Muhammad and Philly Che and the guards just scrapping and fighting for those rebounds?
Yeah, well, then I wish we would have done that the whole game. Because in the first half it was points off turnovers, the second chance points that did us in. And, we're capable of doing it. We can't go up and down. We can't have those moments. It's similar to the SC game where, we have one bad quarter, and that's unfortunate. But, again, I think there's some positives we can take out of this. I'll be honest with you. I'm tired. I know our players got to be tired. This was a long road trip. Yeah. It's going to end up being a full week on the road. And, and we played like it at times tonight. But it'll be nice to be home now. I think we have 3 in a row at home. We're at home for a couple of weeks. I think maybe we can get our legs back underneath us. But we're going to use this as a positive and a challenge to our team. Let's go. I mean, let's go. We can't. We've just got to make sure that we put a full 40 minutes together. That same kind of intensity.
What did you think of the Ari Long minutes? She came in and she didn't score, but it seemed like she had a nice positive impact.
She does. She always does. It's hard. People probably say, well, why don't you play her more? Well, we've got 7 guards. We have 7 guards. And even Lexi Whitfield can play a little bit of guard, and it's just tough to find them all times. There are going to be certain games when they just kind of seem to kind of fit what we need a little bit better, and Ari's been doing that. She's a heck of a player. We just got a lot of them, and it's hard to juggle. Katie Fiso, of course. For those that don't know, she wasn't here today. Her grandfather just passed, so a second close death in her family in 1 week. I mean, I just feel for that poor kid. So she flew home yesterday, and so it gave Ari an opportunity to step in and get some meaningful minutes tonight.
Yeah. Well, great effort here, and then you're back at home Wednesday, so a couple days to rest and try and get back on track. Yeah, and like I said, we're going to use this as a positive. We need to, because this was a really good effort in a tough place to play. They have a great crowd. They've got a great team. They're still undefeated, and we gave them everything they could handle. So we'll try to build on that for our next game. I think we get home and we play Wednesday, right? Yep.
It's a quick turnaround at home after a long week of travel. So. But we need our Duck fans to start coming out. This was an amazing atmosphere, and I think it helped them. We need that same kind of intensity in Matthew Knight Arena. I mean, what are we at home? 10 or 11-1?
10-1. Yep.
It seems like it'd be a fun team to come out and support.
Yep.
So let's get all our Duck fans, those that are listening to this broadcast, are our True Blues.
Yes.
Right. Well, our True Blues need to bring some people with them.
That's right.
And
multiplication.
we'll try like crazy to give them a good show.
Yep. Thanks for your time,
all right,
Coach.
Bud.
That is Kelly Graves' postgame after the 69-60 loss against Ohio State, brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center, better cancer care close to home. First and foremost, thoughts are with Katie Fiso and her family. Just an incredibly difficult time. Thoughts, prayers with her. But I also want to echo what Kelly Graves just said at the back end. If you're watching Duck Insider right now, you're a true blue Duck fan. Congratulations. Welcome to the club. Bring some friends, bring the family, bring a party, bring a neighbor, bring people to Matthew Knight Arena because there's a lot of things going down inside Matthew Knight Arena coming up. The schedule for the women, the next 3 home games at Matthew Knight Arena. First off, Wednesday, quick turnaround. This Wednesday, 6 o'clock tip-off against Purdue. Make sure to be there. For students, there will be another opportunity to get one of those Pit Crew shirts I'm hearing. Yeah, they look pretty cool. I snagged one. If you didn't get to the game where they were giving them out the first time, make sure you're at this one. Snag one. Going to be a great opportunity at Matthew Knight Arena on Wednesday against Purdue. Then on Sunday at 2 o'clock against Iowa. That is a big-time matchup. And it's also Oregon's Women in Flight game in recognition of the National Girls and Women's in Sports Day. What does that mean? Sunday, January 19th, ahead of the 2 o'clock game against Iowa, there will be a camp starting at 12:30 in which female athletes from a whole host of Oregon sports will be there, get to meet, interact, do all sorts of different things with these Oregon student athletes at this Women in Flight National Girls Women in Sports Day camp. How can you sign up? You can sign up by going to goducks.com/NGWSD, National Girls Women's Sports Day, NGWSD, goducks.com/NGWSD to sign up. Camp starts at 12:30 ahead of the 2 o'clock game against Iowa. You must have a ticket to the camp in order to attend. It'll be a fun time. It'll be a great time. And then bookending all of that after the Purdue on Wednesday, after the Iowa on Sunday, then next Friday, still at home. Ducks get to be home for 2 straight weeks when Oregon plays host to Indiana on January 24th at 6 o'clock. It's going to be a fun week of basketball between both the women and the men at Matthew Knight Arena. Make sure to be there as we continue to run through this conference slate and what is going to be a difficult Big Ten conference. We got to get a timeout, and when we come back, we're on the doorstep of a whole host of winter and spring seasons that are about to start. We're going to continue talking about them when we return on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Duck Insider, your home for the latest news on Oregon athletics on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano here with you, breaking down what's going on in Oregon athletics as we're now in this transitionary period after the end of football season and ushers in the beginning of tennis, golf, baseball, softball, lacrosse, beach volleyball, acro. So many different sports that are coming up. And I want to first focus on baseball. We are a month out from baseball season. The Ducks are going to start first pitch on February 14th. So it's January 13th. We missed it by a day. We're a month and a day out from baseball season. But what it means is that we've got to get everybody ready for the year. And what we're going to do here in the Country Financial Studio over the upcoming weeks is we're getting some baseball players in, getting you guys hyped up for the season, getting them hyped up for the season, getting to see what they've been up to and all of that jazz. And one of the critical members for Oregon and their baseball program last year, Carter Garate, someone who went throughout the course of the season with an elite glove, started the year at shortstop, moved over to third base, had as efficient fielding numbers on both sides of things, and then got really hot with his bat down the stretch, enough so that he earned regional MVP of the Santa Barbara Regional, where Oregon moved on to the Supers. It was a big-time finish to the year for Carter Garate, trying to carry that momentum into next season. I get to sit down, chat, and share a little bit about Carter Garate with you guys, the fans. So let's get to the conversation we recorded just a few days ago, Oregon's third baseman, Carter Garate. Carter Garate here with us in studio. First off, welcome. First time in here. Just thoughts on the digs?
I love it. There are a lot of O's, and I believe that's how it should go. That's how it should look.
That's right.
It's decked out. I love it.
It's not too often we get baseball players up here. We do have a tradition in studio. I think Bryce might be the only one who might have given it away to you. Has Bryce told you about our tradition in here?
I have not heard it. I hope to actually hear from Bryce soon, but no, I'm looking forward to getting to know it.
So we have a tradition on the whiteboard over there. I'm not sure if you can see it. We have a leaderboard of a 2-minute life story. Every time that we get a player in here, we ask them 2-minute life story. You can fit whatever you want into it. We're trying to get as close to 2 minutes as possible. You can go over, you can go under, but as close to 2 minutes as you can, and you can start whenever you're ready.
Perfect. All right. Well, local kid from Temecula, California, Southern California, for all my Southern California people out there. I have my two parents, Joy and Daniel. My first name is actually Daniel, so my middle name is Carter. My dad doesn't have the middle name Carter, so technically I'm not a junior. But I think for me personally, it's cool to have the first name as my dad. That's just a little backstory on my name. But my mom is from the Netherlands. She moved to the States when she was 17, I want to say. And then my dad's family is from Mexico. So it's cool to have that, international attachment from two sides. But I got a little sister. She's now a junior in high school, and she's doing her thing with lacrosse. She's found her love, her something to grind for. So proud of her for that. And, I've loved baseball my entire life. I've loved, really any sport. And that's something that I like about myself is that I love basketball. I love football. I obviously love baseball, but I really love to buy into all those sports and all that stuff. So for me personally, my personality is all kinds of sports. But I got a big family back home. Got a lot of cousins, a lot of everything around. But, yeah, that's a little bit about me and my background.
Minute 20.
Oh.
You were a little short.
It's all right.
You got a lot of life to live. There's a lot more to fit into that story.
Yes.
I want to touch on your athletic acumen in just about everything because you mentioned a lot of sports. Didn't you also play volleyball in high school too? There's a lot of athletics for Carter Garate.
Yes, so that was a little last second thing. It was me and a couple buddies my senior year of high school, and obviously I never had a background of playing traditional volleyball, but always in family reunions we always set it up, and it'd kind of be fun to enjoy something away from baseball. But me and my buddies one day, it was open tryouts, and we went, and the coaches were like, hey, you're an athletic dude, we can kind of do something with that. So it became a little cool thing that I could focus on away from baseball my senior year, and it was actually really cool because I ended up breaking I broke the kills record in a match with 15 at my school.
Really? So you were an outside hitter?
Yes, so I was played outside and back middle. And if I didn't have baseball, I think that I would go in the direction of playing volleyball.
Really?
Yeah.
We've got to talk to Coach Ulmer, get you a part of this program too. You could follow in Bryce's footsteps as a two-sport athlete.
Yeah. Nothing too early, but maybe. We'll see.
I do want to talk to you about your journey from Southern California to Oregon. Talk to me about your recruiting story. How did it happen? How did you become a Duck?
Yeah, so actually pretty early. Fortunately, I was blessed enough to play in front of the right people early in my career. My freshman year of high school, I ended up committing to Cal State Fullerton.
Mm-hmm.
All the way through my junior year of high school, they ended up all splitting away, that whole coaching staff. So then it kind of became like a thing where I didn't know where I was at that level yet. So it was kind of scary opening up their recruitment again because I never really knew what to expect. But, I was blessed with the opportunity to be helped by that staff still. Even with them departing and me leaving, they were, they gave me their help in the recruiting process again. So I ended up decommitting one night, got a text from it happened really quick. I got a text from a couple of schools, heading to a visit the next day.
Mm-hmm.
It was all really quick, but, I ended up the first day of school, I remember committing because I came on a visit. I came here, I actually wanted to stay close to home, but when I came here, it was really hard to say no with the staff that we got here, the school, and just the support through the sports. So it was really, really hard to say no, and obviously I ended up coming here, which to me is my best decision in my life. So
I want to talk to you about the relationship with the coaching staff. Coach Waz, Coach Martyr, Coach Hinkle, what were the first impressions, and then how has that relationship continued to grow for you now entering your junior year?
Yeah, and that was something that I looked for in the recruiting, was a place where I could go where the coaches are going to make me feel like part of their family, and also with the rest of the program. And I think that's something that they do incredibly well here, and just the relationships that I've been able to grow with those coaches especially has been phenomenal, and they've taught me how to grow into a grown man and learn how to make my life decisions the right way, doing things the right way on and off the field, and it's like I said, it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Well, and that process and development is such a big part of the program. I want to talk about your own personal development throughout the course of last season specifically. We talked about the Washington series kind of being a turning point for you, so much so that you finished being regional MVP by the end of it. Just what was that journey for you last year, and how did you get to the point where at the end of the season you were playing really great ball in the field and also hitting really well at the plate?
Yeah, I hit that little rough patch in the middle of the season. I ended up starting really hot, found that rough patch in the middle, and then, near the end of the season, I kind of went into the playoffs as, nothing that happened before matters anymore. And now's the time that, I feel like the team needed me the most, and, I do everything for them. So anything that they needed for me to do to elevate the team, I was going to be there for that. And putting the season behind, none of that mattered anymore. Go ahead, head down, and put your best effort and, provide what you can to help the team win. So that was kind of my mentality going in, and, it ended up in my favor and in the team's favor for a little bit. But, definitely looking forward to going back there in the postseason, and that's where this team belongs every year. So
you've got that flush it mentality, but I'm curious, do you think momentum can carry over from the back end of last season into the front end of the season that's coming up before us?
Yeah, I think that just confidence, knowing that you can compete with the best, and us going to A&M and being able to do what we did there as an offense, I think that gives us that edge of confidence coming into the season. And, there's that long break of summer, fall, and all that, but I think it just puts that image in your head, that thought that, you can compete with the best. So whatever your best is, you're going to bring it every day, and that's going to, be better than the other teams at the end of the day.
Take me back to last season, because we're now 8-ish months removed from the end of last year. So when you think back about last season's baseball team, what are the memories that stick out for you? Do you have a favorite memory from last year's squad?
Yeah. Honestly, we had a lot of great moments as a team. I think last year's team was really one piece in its unique way, and I think that's what brought us so far. But one moment for me with our team was, Bryce hitting that homer in the 11th inning versus San Diego, and advancing us into the next game with going in the tournament 1-0 instead of 0-1 was huge for us, and it was cool to share that moment with Bryce, especially just knowing the guys how they love him so much and how much he loves the program, and he's willing to do whatever it is to help.
I'm glad you bring that up, because you talk about how connected last year's team was. You've now got Bryce Betcher playing football. How cool is that to watch from the stands and watch someone who you played on the diamond with now go and execute and play for the number one team in the country in football?
Yeah, that was really a surreal moment, seeing Bryce really grind for it. He's never really been given anything being a walk-on, and that is inspiring, to me, and I know my teammates now, is that he's inspired us to really fight for what you want. There's nothing that you can't do if you're willing to put in the work, and obviously he's put in the work, and it's really cool to see him on that stage, and he deserves all that. He works really hard for all that stuff. So, I mean, for me, there's no one else more deserving than Bryce.
You talk about this infield, and Bryce departing from the baseball program, but the infield is completely intact. You've got returners everywhere. How does that help your development going into this year, where the entire infield, not just the starters, but also guys that are going to be coming off of the bench too?
Yeah.
Everybody was on last year's squad.
Yeah, we're coming in with a really experienced squad, and, I think that experience is going to elevate us from last year's team. We were already good, and we're going to be better just because of that experience. But you said it, that everyone had a taste of what it was like in playing in the season, and I think that having everyone back from that infield piece is just going to help each other build and build and build, because that person is right on you to get you better, but also when you're fighting for that spot and that all 4 or 5 guys have played, that you got to step up your game, and that just makes everyone else better, and it honestly grows our relationships with each other. So
when I watch you play, it's the fielding, to me, that really sticks out. Carter Garate, yeah, he can hit, but he's got a glove. So what are your tips to someone who's 10, 12 years old watching, wants to be a future Duck? What are your tips? How do you become an elite fielder on the infield?
Yeah, it comes down to your hard work, you know what I mean? Like, if you're willing to put in that work, you're going to do what you want. But for me, I've had the opportunity to work with Hinkle. He's been very helpful in, fine-tuning the little things. But my advice to someone out there, no matter what age, is really watch as much infield work as possible. I think when I was 10, 12 years old, I'd get on YouTube and look up Andrelton Simmons highlights. I wanted to watch the best do what they did and kind of remake that in my own way. And, being so little, I just had fun with it, and I wasn't, paying attention to such the little things, but I just know I wanted to create that image again in what he was doing. So then I kind of, took it to my own, and when I was little, I just had fun with it. So it was, I guess in more simple terms, it's just, have fun watching something, and then have fun, doing it on the field in any way that you can make that, your thing. Do it.
We're recording this about a month away from the regular season starting. In this next month leading up to the year, what do you want to continue to get done so Ducks are game ready by the time Valentine's Day hits?
Yeah, I think we're going to be one of the most prepared teams going into the season, because, there's a lot of guys fighting for spots out there, and, once you have that guy on your tail, it pushes you to be ready for that moment. And once opening day starts, I think every single piece of this team is going to be ready for it. So,
Carter Garate, what do we miss?
Nothing much.
Carter, Thanks for joining us. Looking forward to seeing you, calling you from the booth, starting Valentine's Day.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to that date. Looking forward to see you guys out there, and we'll start the season off with a bang.
Thanks for joining us.
Yes, sir.
Big thanks to Carter Garate getting into studio. We'll have a few more players coming throughout the off season, or really the preparation for February 14th. 4 o'clock first pitch against Toledo. That's when Oregon baseball starts at PK Park. Everyone is going to be electric coming up for Valentine's Day. A few more schedules to break down. Getting to them when we return on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You say you never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, no, it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano with you, and because last week was so packed, we didn't have the chance to do some housekeeping over what we missed on the break from a few weeks back. What we missed is a few schedules being dropped for this upcoming season, this late winter, early spring year. First, starting with Oregon lacrosse, who dropped their upcoming schedule. Their first match going to be at Pape Field starting on February 7th against Butler. There will be 4 home games in a row. Butler on the 7th, Stetson on the 11th, Columbia on the 15th, and Central Michigan on the 22nd to kick off the year. Road trip going to Northern California against Cal and UC Davis before 4 more home games. San Diego State closes up the non-conference, and then it's Big Ten conference play. Ohio State, Rutgers, Penn State, and Michigan all at home. Maryland, Johns Hopkins, Northwestern, and USC on the road. Yes, that's right. Johns Hopkins is a Big Ten school in lacrosse. Also a road trip to Ypsilanti, Michigan to play Eastern Michigan in the middle of the year. That's the schedule for Oregon Ducks lacrosse. We also missed Oregon beach volleyball schedule that got dropped over the break. Ducks will start February 21st, 22nd for the Corbin Invitational up in Salem. The Cactus Classic in Tucson going to be the week after that. And then there is a whole bunch of schedules, matches coming up for Oregon, a few of which stay in state. The only home match for Oregon Beach is going to be against Portland and Bushnell on April 8th. That will be when the Ducks are here in Eugene competing on the beach side of things. MPSF Championship in Huntington Beach, California closes up the year April 23rd through 25th. Excited for both Oregon lacrosse and Oregon beach volleyball starting up in the coming weeks as we break into what is going to be a really stellar end of winter and early spring campaign. Got to get to another quick timeout. When we come back, some new additions on the track that we'll be seeing at Hayward Field and some pro Ducks doing big things. Coming back after this on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry.
I can roller skate while walking my dog.
I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like him.
Then he said,
if it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio, it's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Ryan Milano with you, closing out a Monday show, and there are some new additions that are coming into this Oregon program that came through over the weekend. Going to be new to Hayward Field, an experienced transfer joining the flock, Abdel Lagel from Providence, a track and field transfer, going to be a distance runner for the green and yellow at Hayward Field. Also, a freshman just got announced. He is joining. Juan Gonzalez going to be part of that distance crew as well. A men's runner and a distance runner, a new addition to the Ducks. Welcome to the flock to both of them. Two pro Ducks that did big things. Penei Sewell got announced as the Polynesian Player of the Year earlier in the week, last week on Friday, and Christian Gonzalez, second team All-Pro. Some former Ducks doing some big things, some more Ducks playing throughout the playoffs. Joey's got a packed show for you tomorrow, breaking down some basketball. Eric Rodell on the show. Go Ducks, everybody. See ya.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and I dedicate a lot of my time going fast. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently or having trouble with routine tasks.